Hey guys, it's Jessica from RunPainFree. It's been a minute since I've been on here with some actual video talking footage. But the marathon was great. Everybody did amazing. Nobody had pain, so that was the biggest thing. A couple people had problems with humidity and cramping, or nutrition issues rather, which I can handle that because I'm a nutrition expert as well. But number one thing is no pain. For anybody that I rolled who knows me that I may not know you, I would love to hear how you did, how you finished, so please comment below. But this is about push-off and what people really don't understand about the power of push-off and the functionality of what it ignites in your body. A very common problem runners have is inner calf, right below your gastrocnemius, the bulb of your calf. On the inside, right by your shin, pain right there. That could kind of run right down towards your ankle, and even sometimes into the, down, passing the ankle bone and kind of under the foot even. Excuse me. And a lot of you Google and think that your leg is, going to fall off. But the truth of the matter is that's your IT. The root of that is your IT. And the reason why RunPainFree is successful in correcting injuries is because we go for the root. At no point am I looking at the pain spot. Your pain spot is only a result of what dysfunction is happening somewhere else. And the program finds and exposes everything so that I can actually find out what it is and correct that. That's why it's a program, it's not sessions. That's why the 6 months has to be completed so I can deem you corrected. And many people continue post 6 months. However, the reason why the IT is the cause of that is because when the IT is connecting on the outside of your calf, on the outside of your knee, below your knee, guys, below your knee. I'm gonna pull this down so you can see right here. It connects out here on that bone. So when it's pulling out there, it's actually holding up your leg basically in muscle function. And again, tissue restricts mobility. Fascia restricts mobility. Let me be specific, not just any tissue because there's all tons of tissue, but fascia actually restricts mobility. It thinks it's protecting you, and in some instances it is. It restricts you from overextending, hyperextending, and that's its job. So when you're an athlete and you're requiring more activity, you require more mobility. And if the mobility isn't there, the strain begins. And that's why runners are who get the stress fractures, because there's been stress over time and creates a problem on said bone or insertion of. But if you correct the dysfunction, there's no stress to the area, no stress to the joint. And then the surrounding muscles can actually protect the joint and allow it to just support the joint so the joint can function for you. That's the job around the joint. So when we're having this pain that's basically inside, if I can show you my leg, inside here, inside there, right kind of along the bone, it's more because you're not getting push off. So if you're not rolling through heel to toe, rolling through, not hitting your heel and hitting your toe and bouncing, rolling through, using full functionality of your foot, which I preach everywhere on here to all of my runners, every event I go to, sneaker stores, wherever I can go, and because it's a functionality, guys. The function of the push-off ignites that same leg's glute. Once that same leg's glute is firing, then it ignites the hip to extend. To flex. When you have flexion, that's when you get the power of your run. If you have no push-off, you have no hip flexion. Period. I don't care what you're talking about. It's not going to happen. Now, do other things take place because you're not pushing off? Yes. That's why your quads start to build out and you start to bubble your quad and become quad dominant. Because if your glute doesn't fire your hip to flex, then you're still going to run. So other things have to compromise. So now your hamstrings do the job of the glute, which they don't do a good job of because that's not their job. So they're overworking in a dysfunctional manner. The hip joint itself, therefore, does not function. It's immediately dysfunctional because the glute function, the glute activation is what has to happen to get complete mobility of the hip. So if that glute isn't firing and the hamstrings are doing that job, the a hip can only work as good as the hamstrings can support it, and it really doesn't do that. So I hope that that makes sense in and of itself, because that's a root to many injuries. However, but then your quads your hip flexors start to really start to pick up your legs for you. Your quads start to build. There's 2.2 pounds of pressure per step on your run. So you are building muscle. It's just a longer period of time. So you really need to realize that you're building muscle dysfunctionally every step of your run, the longer you wait to get corrected when stuff is not working right. When you're feeling one thing one day and then a week later you feel something the other day, that's a sign something is wrong. It's not minor. Your body's giving you a sign. Call me to fix it. Because if not, you're going to wind up with a real injury. So when you don't have push off, you don't even have a chance at activating your glute to fire your hip. Not only is that happening on the same side, but on the opposite leg, it sets the opposite leg in motion once the left leg is pushing off. Once that left foot is pushing off, this leg starts to come back. It's just how the body works. The leg starts to come back just to set up, because it's push off up and then this comes, push off up and then this comes. Like, that's how the body works. So it's a system that's getting kicked off. So although it may not be a direct function in muscle, it's a movement pattern. And that's why so many people they'll say they'll have left foot pain or a left PF or a left shin splint, and then they'll strain their right hamstring underneath their butt. That's why. So that's the power of RunPainFree. That's the power of being a biomechanic expert, knowing movement patterns, how to break them down, where they're coming from and what to look for. And the human body works one way, but then everybody has their own imbalances, but messes up that movement pattern. So it's important that, I actually see the person or talk to the person and figure out what's going on with them specifically. Injuries that happened 7, 8, 10, 20 years ago affect you present day. And especially if they were never corrected, your body just consistently compromises. It's the most amazing compromiser in the world. And your body will do whatever it takes to perform for you. Your best thing to do is to give your body what it needs, to thank it so that it has the tools to do what you want. Continuing to push your body because somebody said to wear this stupid sneaker that has no movement in your foot just because it's a runner is stupid. And I don't have any nice way to say that. It's not about I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being truthful. And if any of you at this point know me, I give you the truth. I have no reason to sit here and sugarcoat anything. I'd rather just tell you what it is, and you guys can just feel it, figure it out, yourself, feel it yourself. That's why I'm a big fan of the Nike Freeze. I'm not a affiliate. I'm not sponsored by Nike. I tell you guys what works, and that's it. Same thing with nutrition. Anybody who's worked with me as nutrition clients, because I'm an expert in nutrition as well, I tell you what it is. I tell you what it does to your body. You make your own decision. But I'm giving you the truth of the matter. And if you don't want to have a hip injury, you need to correct push-off problems, because what happens in your foot is happening in your hip. You just don't feel it in your hip till it's too late. Once you start feeling hip issues, that's a much different issue. It needs to be addressed quite aggressively so that we stop it where it is and it doesn't get worse. And the hip and feet are synonymous in terms of movement. So it's really important that you listen to your feet and lower leg issues, because something's going on up top that's not allowing your feet to have ankle flexion. If you don't have ankle flexion, you don't have hip flexion. If you don't have push off, you don't have igniting in the glute to have hip flexion. Like, it's very systematic. So anybody out there that has hamstring strain up underneath their glute, it's more than likely because you're not pushing off on one foot as well as you are on the other, and or both. And that's something you want to pay attention to and look at. And look at your sneakers. Do you have mobility in your sneakers? Are they promoting full functionality of your foot? You got a lot of might in that foot, but as long as it's stuck in a stability shoe, you're not using anything at all. Nothing at all. And it's just your shins are working, your calves are working weird, your hamstrings are overworking, your glutes not firing. So a lot of the major joints that you need working and moving and mobility wise don't even have the stability around them, because if the mobility is being restricted by tissue, the muscles have no chance at firing to protect said joint. So I hope that makes sense. I know there's a lot of you coming to me with the same pain, so I just wanted to get on here. Like, you all know, I do come on when I hear a lot of the same complaints. And this lower leg pain, inner shin issue, has been coming up a lot lately, and push off is an issue because a lot of ankle mobility isn't there, and that's a hip problem, guys. So comment below, tag me. I will not get it if you don't tag me. And if anybody needs anything more, definitely reach out to any of my ambassadors, who I'm sure a lot of you may know. But as always, just text me or comment below. Hope you have an awesome Tuesday. Bye.